Oh, the Maple Leafs. They were just plain sleepy. Had nothing to do with the Kings kicking their ass, right?
This is LA Kings Fan Talk with Rodney, Rob, Darren, Mike, and Joe. All right. The Kings are 7-2-2 to start the season. Mike, what do you make of this team so far?
Boys are buzzing, man. The boys are buzzing. Playing great team defense, and offense is clicking. So, things are going good. Talbot's playing good, and McClellan keeps riding him. So, ride him as you can.
Joe, what do you think?
Scoring goals is a good feeling.
Right?
Lots of goals. Lots of goals. And it started off a little, shaky, but since then, obviously they've lost to teams that are, you could say considerably, or not considerably, but you could consider better than them. But they are winning the games that they should win, and decisively in most cases. So, yeah, a lot of positives. Coach is doing something right now. Good for him.
How many years did we go through, us longtime Kings fans, of just being low-scoring defensive teams? Like, all the years of our lives, basically, and now we're a high-scoring team. It's awesome to watch.
Not to derail the conversation, going back to the hot or not thing, but Talbot should have gotten a vote for hot, because since his first couple of games, that guy has definitely been playing great. So, anyways, I'll add that as a footnote.
Nice, a little footnote there. Darren, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we've been playing well. I really like Mike said, the team defense, and it's really fun watching them score goals. We're really deep, and I think we knew that coming in, but it's really shown. Like, we have basically a line and a half that's not doing anything between the PLD line, like when they're on the ice. I know Fiala does some stuff on the power play and stuff, and then the more Dano Kaliev line, it's like good, but they don't seem like they're contributing offensively as much as the other lines. But it doesn't matter. We're just so deep. We're so good. And I think it doesn't matter.
Did you not watch the NHL Top 10 Highlights of the Week, which showed Moore with an awesome backhand pass across the crease to Dano? It was the only
True.
Kings Top 10 highlight, but okay.
By the way, that was. Do you notice there's I think 3 Maple Leaf defenders and the goalie all could have stopped that pass from going through. And I just watched it. I don't know. I watched it like 3 times. Like, they had all those guys there. Anyway, yeah.
Darren?
Once Moore spun around, they all kind of just froze.
Yeah.
And they just watched him.
Yeah. And then even had a guy coming back to get Dano. Dano's the one who put the puck in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they even had a guy coming back to get his stick too. They literally had 4 guys back, and nobody did anything.
I'm a little confused. Did Darren say the Dano Kaliev Moore line is not productive?
Yeah,
Because I feel like they're as productive as the Kempe Kopitar Byfield line.
Well, what about the Fiala Dubois?
That's what I said.
The Ferrer line, are they more productive
No.
than
I
them?
said that line.
He said that line was doing the worst, but
Yeah,
Okay.
That line is the worst, and then I think the fourth line is probably technically the second there, but because they're the fourth line, we don't have as much expectation on them.
Right.
And then I think, I don't know, it just feels like 5-on-5. They have Moore, who's on a heater right now, and besides that, I don't know, it doesn't feel like they're doing as much as the Kempe Byfield Kopitar line. That's all I mean.
Okay. Well, what I'm looking at is 12 goals by that line, and Kopitar's line has a total of 9. No, I'm sorry. Has a total of 12 as well.
Yeah, but that's including power play goals, right?
Sure, and I'm sure Kopitar has scored a power play goal or 2. So is Kempe, no?
do we have empty net power play goals? Because then, yes.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And Kempe has 2 empty nets.
He does.
I'm just sticking up for that line. I'm trying to stick up for the Dano line, because I really, really think people quite understand how good they are.
Oh, I totally agree
Okay.
with you. They're definitely total driving force.
I think they've been one of our best lines.
I don't follow Corsi or any of that shit, but I guarantee you, if you look that crap up, they're carrying possession. And if it's not possession or like having their other team in their own zone, I don't know how that all is scored and all the stats, but yeah, I mean, in terms of, yeah, I'm a big Dano guy. Obviously, you guys know that, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, no, they're honestly, I would make the argument they're one of our best lines right now in terms of just
Yeah, we only have four lines. I mean,
But that's
They're one of our top 4 lines right there.
well, no, I would wager that they're probably in terms of time on ice, probably giving up the least amount of goals. I don't know, or scoring chances. I don't know. This is all pure speculation.
Yeah, I love it. We're all about the eye test. We're not pulling analytics out here. It's all about the eye test.
Exactly.
I just like, or actually I hate listening to people say, Kaliev's just a passenger on that line. You know what? Go f yourself.
Hey,
I'm
dude,
so
Give us some more. Give us some more. What? Because why?
The last couple goals he scored, there's 2 where he's standing still. I mean,
how hard that is?
No, I was gonna say it makes me hard. Like, it gives me a chubby.
That's a twisted wrister right there.
Just stands there and just like takes his time and just roofs it short side top corner on the
with no momentum.
Yeah,
It's just
impressive.
Yep. And people that haven't played won't understand how hard that is. That's probably most of Twitter that's never played. So.
Well, I will say also, I was watching the Canadian broadcast for the Maple Leaf game. They were definitely mentioning that Trevor Moore's from Thousand Oaks, but they're also talking about, how impressive he's been this season. So, for what that's worth, I don't know where that came from, but
it was cool to watch the national broadcast and like they had done their homework. They were talking about Thousand Oaks. They're talking up all the Kings' younger players. It was kind of cool to see.
Well, since you bring up the national broadcast, you know what? Another people that can go and take it. The Maple Leafs, they were just playing sleepy. Had nothing to do with the Kings kicking their ass, right? It's because the Maple Leafs decided they didn't want to play. And I even threw out the tweet, 3 straight games that the Kings have made the opposing crowd boo their team on the ice. They booed them in Toronto, they booed them in Ottawa, and they booed them in Philly.
Oh, I thought they were big Drew Doughty fans.
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
No, they weren't booing us. They were booing their own team. That's how pathetic
Right.
Yeah,
we were making them look.
Drew.
So the Kings are definitely fun to watch right now.
They are fun to watch.
That was funny to hear, though, Rob, because I heard that too. Oh, the Maple Leafs are so sleepy today. They just came off a road trip. They're sleepy.
Yeah.
This happens all the time.
The Kings will make teams look like that,
they just came off a road trip. Meanwhile, the Kings are on a road trip.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, all that stuff's stupid.
All
The
right.
Maple Leafs suck. I'll just say that. The Maple Leafs suck. Some of the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, how awesome is that right now?
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
Talk about good times.
Wait, what's more awesome? Are the Edmonton Oilers sucking or the Sharks setting records for just
Oilers. It's
Yeah,
Oilers.
it is
Oilers
because of our recent playoff battles with them and having McDavid
Right.
and Draisaitl on
Because they have
the
the 2 best players in the league. You know?
yeah, that's what I just said. But yeah,
And their fan base is worse than the Sharks fan base.
right. They're jumping up there into what territory? They're jumping up into like Maple Leaf fan
Duck
base
territory.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. They're up there.
Per capita Ducks.
Well, it's also because they're so pathetic, you almost feel sorry for them.
Are you talking about the
that
Ducks that just
bad.
won 5 games in a row? What are you talking about?
Oh, the Sharks. I'm
Oh,
talking
okay,
about the
okay.
Sharks.
Darren was about to get pissed, so I jumped in there for him, trying to defend his
Hey.
Ducks. That's his second team, I think.
No,
Oh.
God, no.
Third team.
No, not even close.
Okay, but yeah, it's serious. So what are the Sharks? What's the record they set since 1965? First team that had 10 goals scored against them back-to-back games.
Back.
That's impressive, actually. I'm not even mad. It's like eating a whole wheel of cheese.
Yeah,
Well, I think they
Dubois
also
wants to
have-
play then.
I think they have like 10 goals in 10 games too. if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're up to 12 after the other night. But
Yeah.
yeah,
They've given up 55. They've scored 12.
they're on pace for like the 4th worst goals against and the highest goal differential or something like that.
Are they kind of
Obviously.
overdoing it? Like if you're trying to tank for,
I don't know why they're tanking this year. Why wouldn't you do it last year? Like, I don't know anything about the Celebrini kid who's supposed to be the first overall pick this year. It's way too long or way too far from the draft to think about it. But why wouldn't you do it last year when you had Bedard and Fantilli? But
I don't think. I don't think it was on purpose. But well, maybe.
Yeah.
Did you say on porpoise because of the sharks?
I did not say that, but maybe.
Okay,
probably.
go. Hey, since you guys are talking about around the league stuff right now, do we do it? Do we talk about the horrible incident over in Europe?
Oh my God, I don't want to.
It's so
Go
bad.
ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll just frame it this way that I mean, I don't know anything about either of the two guys other than apparently the American guy
Johnson, right?
played for the
Yes.
The Penguins back in the day, and yeah.
played for the Rain or whatever a few years ago. Learned that after the fact, but my take on it is that that was absolutely intentional in that he made an extremely dangerous play regardless of the outcome, and the outcome is a byproduct of that extremely dangerous play. And then I don't know if you can edit this out about the politics of it. People start talking about racism, saying like, I don't think the guy should go to jail. I don't know. I mean, that's a very gray area, but he should absolutely live a life of shame and disappointment because he made a really poor decision that probably outweighed any thing that he ever thought about when he did that. But yeah, extremely dirty, shameful. Hang your head in the corner, and yeah, that's all I got to say.
Do you guys remember back in the like '89 or something like that, '90s? Clint Malarchuk, the goalie, got his neck slashed with a skate back in the day too, but he survived. But
what about Richard Zednik? Did you see that one?
That was even more recent. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago, and that was similar in that the person's leg was like flying through the air, but it was different in that guy got hip checked and like flipped over the guy's.
That's cool.
Joe, it's funny you said that. It's almost exactly how I feel about it too. I'm hoping he's a human being, and he beats himself up for the rest of his life. I don't think he should go to jail for it, but I hope he feels like shit every single night about it. And knowing that could happen to anybody.
So I actually did not watch it. I just didn't want to see it. Yeah. But did it, like Joe was saying, did it look too intentional to you guys?
You have to see it to understand it, I think. Like, just because he basically is skating laterally across the blue line, and the player with the puck, the guy who gets killed, he makes a bad line towards him, basically, like he's trying to line him up, but his other player gets in front of him too, and so it's one of those situations where you're going to get beat, and you can, if you're facing the player, stick your knee out, and you can't see me sticking my knee out, but that sort of thing. He basically does like almost like a ninja kick, like turns his momentum's going that way, and he sweeps his leg over that direction, presumably to trip him, or which would have been bad regardless. And then he loses his balance, and then the guy's also at a low trajectory when it happens because he's making a cut back up the other side of the ice. So it's definitely like in terms of like yeah, I guess you could qualify as like a Murphy's Law thing, like just like a real bad like situation. But apparently, and I don't know, like that's why I always say like throw him in jail. Apparently, the guy's got a reputation.
He led the league in penalty minutes last year,
and that doesn't mean anything other than that he's involved with like
that he plays on the line.
Exactly. But where I think like, how are you going to take that to it? Like, and one that's happened in Britain, but even if it's in the U.S., how do you take that to court? Like, you're playing a sport, like it's such a gray area. But anyways, I'll shut up about it.
I just watched it. That was wild.
the whole racist narrative because people want to throw him in jail. People want to throw him in jail because it was fucking like a really fucking stupid decision on his part that cost somebody his life. If it was on the street, not in a sporting event, somebody doing something reckless like that, driving drunk, blah blah blah.
Danny Heatley.
Exactly. Yes, and he should have gone to jail, as far as I'm concerned. Not for life, but he should have gone to jail. Anyway,
since you bring that up, I would love for it to be a Danny Heatley situation. Parents forgive Danny Heatley. That had a lot of weight on him not going to jail, by the way. And Danny Heatley sincerely feels bad. Yep. And Danny Heatley sincerely feels bad about it. And I'm sure he's beating himself up still to this day. And I would, if that's happening, if we're all human in this, then let it go.
Yeah,
it sounds like the other thing
that was super dirty though. I just watched that first time. That was super dirty.
I haven't seen the clip, but it sounds like the other issue was there was no medical, major medical.
It didn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
they did bring him back to life too, like in the ambulance. Apparently, he died there. He died at the rink, and then they brought him back. But I remember when the Richard Zednick thing happened. They were saying that the only reason that Richard Zednick lived is because it wasn't completely severed. Apparently, when you're fucking the artery if it gets completely snapped, it sucks back into your body. It's impossible for them to reattach it. He had some part of the vessel still connected, and they're able to fix it because of that. But yeah.
What was that guy doing?
What's that?
So what was that guy doing? The guy that hit him,
trying to stop him, trying to trip him.
It was just a reckless play, just extremely reckless. In that the best case scenario is that he takes his shin across both of his knees.
Yeah,
that's really the best outcome. Another outcome is that he hits him right in the gut and severs something in his torso. I don't know, whatever. The only reason I want to bring it up is because I just don't like when people outside of hockey are like watching that and stuff. And I understand why people are on the hockey side of things are like, oh, he deserves to go to jail because it's awful. It was intentional, not severing his jugular or whatever you call it. Clearly intentional to injure. And
for sure.
So at the end of the day, for me, I agree with Rob. Cooler heads prevail. That guy has to live with it the rest of his life. So he's the one. He's the one in aside from the guy that died in the worst part of this equation. So
condolences to his family, though. Sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
Really quick, does that change in your guys' opinions? Would you, if you were in the NHL, would you start wearing a neck guard? Or
yes,
any hockey league?
I think it's overdue. All that stuff, even the legs, the socks, because whoever got there, was it Carlson?
Carter got jacked up.
Carter had it.
Yeah, that happened to
Carlson
Carter
too, I think.
Yeah, I went online and I checked out those neck guards and whatnot. They're all sold out right now, but
yeah. I mean, I don't think it's immediately gonna make me go get one, but it's definitely something I've looked at. So maybe next time I upgrade my gear, we'll grab one.
All right. That's enough morbid talk. Let's get into the Kings' upcoming schedule. Rob, why don't you lead us into that?
All right. So we got one more game on the road trip against Vegas. I believe that is Wednesday. And then we come back home, which is a short trip, right? Because it's Vegas. And to play Pittsburgh. So back-to-back nights. And then Flyers, Panthers, Blues before we go back out on the road.
All right, so you're telling me our next game is against the team that just beat Colorado, 7-0 like that? Something like that?
Correct.
And then the following game is the team that just beat the Sharks 10-2 or something like that. Something
correct.
Like that. So, Darren, what do we got to do?
I think we got to keep rolling our lines like we have been. Unfortunately, we got to keep rolling with Talbot. I don't mean that unfortunately like he's been playing poorly. I mean that unfortunately in the sense that he's playing a lot of games, and I don't know if that's necessarily a great thing for our long-term success because he does have a history of injuries the last few years. But roll with
I'm glad you
Talbot.
clarified yourself there, because
Yeah, of course. I again, he's playing awesome, and I like that he's playing awesome. I mean, it's really good for the Kings, and the fact that we got him for $1 million. I'm glad we didn't pay Corpusalo or any of those guys the money they made. It didn't make any sense, but we got to be careful with his games because he does have that history of injuries recently. He is an older goalie. Whatever. I think keep playing like the way we have been and rolling our lines and play smart defensively. And I think we can definitely beat Vegas. Like we were right there with them in the last game.
heck, our AHL team beat them in the preseason, beat their NHL team. So yeah, we could pull it off, right, Mike? What do you think?
Yeah. No, I think
Do we
a lot
need to
of
call up
what Darren-
Hodgins or whatever his name is?
I'd love that. That would be awesome.
I think a lot of what Darren said, but also, I mean, between Vegas, the Boston game, the Colorado game, I felt like we were all in those games except for goaltending was the key difference. Their goaltender stood out better than ours did. So if Talbot plays well like he has been playing, we'll be good to go. Kind of to piggyback off what Darren said, though, it's funny how McClellan, beginning of the season, was saying, we're going to go back to back with these goalies. They're going to rotate as much as possible, and he abandoned that real fast.
I think the play of Copley led him to that. I mean, I would like to see Copley get a little bit more of a rhythm. I think that would help him, but I'm a little surprised he didn't play one of those games against Ottawa or Philly.
When's our next back to back? I don't think he'll get in until we have a
It's
back to
it's
back.
our next two.
This is the back to back coming
Yeah,
up.
our next
Got
two
it.
games are
Yeah.
back to back. After the Philadelphia game, it was nice to hear Tortorella, who's a realist, whether you like him or not.
Yeah.
He's a realist.
What'd he say?
And he said twice in the post game interview how good the Kings are. He goes, man, that team, that was a really good hockey team in the beginning of his statements. And at the end, he said, when you run into a team that's rolling like that. So he recognized the play of the Kings. So, and we got them again when we come home. So,
Yeah, but so in that game, I was like thinking in like the first 5-10 minutes, I'm like, all right, this is gonna go sideways because they had moments. They had offensive presence and stuff, but it wasn't like they were really like dictating the play or whatever. And then did they scored in the first period 2 goals? I don't know. I blend all of these games together, but
it was 2-0 late in the second.
okay. So yeah. So point being is, yeah, there's like nothing, going that long into your third road game. I just expected it eventually is going to catch them. Put it this way, I guess what I'm trying to say is the first 20 minutes, I did not think the Kings were dominant by any stretch. Like they had stretches where they're possession, but they're also giving up chances, like kind of flippantly. So,
and that's what he was getting at was, he thought, hey, we might have a chance here. It's 2-0 late, and then they have the power play. If we can make it 2-1, we're in this. And then all of a sudden we score 2 quick ones and they go into the third losing 4-0. And he goes, and what do? You can't come back against a team that's on that hot of a roll. That's that good.
Oh, even in general, 4-0.
I like it. It's good to hear. It's good to hear. All right, so who do we got after the Knights? What'd you say, Rob?
It's Pittsburgh, Flyers, Panthers, and the Blues. So we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, 10 points possible. Rodney, how many points are we getting out of those 10?
We're getting a solid 8. That's it? You want me to expand on that? Do you want me to tell you who it's going to be?
Yep.
I don't know who it's going to be, but I think we're going to beat the Knights. Bring them down to earth just a tad. Just a tad. But to beat them would be huge in our progression forward this season.
How many, Mike? How many points out of the 10?
I think 8. I think we could beat Vegas too. I mean, Darren's second favorite team just beat them tonight, so he could show they're beatable, you know. Uh, and then Copley, we'll see how Copley does for Pittsburgh, but we should be able to beat Pittsburgh no problem. There's probably one stinker in there somewhere, but I think we get 8 points.
Darren?
9 points. I think our only loss is going to be an overtime loss.
And to Kachuk, because Dowdy's going to throw a fit?
Maybe.
The floor.
I project maybe Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Come back off the road.
Okay.
Copley
Joe?
playing. Yeah.
Gonna say that they win the Vegas game and win one of the two against Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. I think they're gonna get like what is this, 5 games we're talking about?
Yeah.
I'm expecting like maybe 5 or 6 points out of it. I'm expecting a couple of duds.
Okay.
Wow. Rob, what do you think?
Well, we're on the streak, so
Yeah. I can see us maybe looking past St. Louis at the end of this road of the home stand, because after St. Louis we're going to go on a little short 2-gamer against the Coyotes and Ducks on the road there, and maybe if we're looking and I'll actually be okay to maybe even lose 2 of these next 5 games if we could go on that road trip and kick the crap out of the Coyotes again and then just demolish the Ducks. So
Do you want to kick the crap out of the Coyotes, or do you want to rip their hearts out like Dowdy did? Just like super late.
Exactly. Hey, and while we're talking about the Coyotes real quick, I admire Dursey. I admire him. I do. I think he's in a real good spot to be a leader on a team, and where all his attributes will be appreciated a lot there, you know.
You like sticking up for himself and fighting some dude that when he just got rocked instead of waiting for somebody else. Yeah.
Running power plays and being energetic. He's in a good spot.
He's not the mistakes that he makes are not as important because they're not in the playoff. Like if they make the playoffs this year, they're playing with house money.
Yes, right.
So like if he makes mistakes, it doesn't matter to some extent, you know.
he absolutely burned Dowdy. Like
He did.
Just full on embarrassed him. Give him credit.
He might be the reason why Dowdy's been on a little hot
right?
right?
No, Dowdy said after that game, he was like, I was so embarrassed when that happened since I was like a rookie or something. Mike, I don't know. You probably heard what he said. Go ahead.
No, it was something like I let him walk right around me and score that goal.
And he said that's the most embarrassed I've been in a long time since I was a rookie or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this, but Dowdy was wearing his earbuds at the time, and he was listening to that song, Dursey's Mom Has Got It Going On or something like that. So.
Well, there's also a lot of the Drew Dowdy divorce talk too about him having said in the game. Don't want to bring personal shit up, but
ouch, Joe, ouch.
He's got better hands. He doesn't have anything weighing down his hands. Is that what you're saying?
You said that, I didn't.
I think Joe wanted to mention somebody. Who'd you have, Joe?
Are you talking about Cam Talbot?
Is that who you're talking about? Then okay.
I said that earlier, right?
Yeah. But let's pretend you didn't. So, who do you say, Joe?
Cam Talbot. Yeah, totally. Unsung hero.
I like it.
He's got the stats that everybody's like, oh, you got to have at least like a 915 save percentage, whatever.
Right. And right now he's got him.
Not even that.
I like the last 5 or 6 games that I know he has that, but I don't know what it is overall. I don't follow stats, but regardless, shutout last game.
Right.
2 goals the game before, 1 goal the game before that, from my memory. Pretty.
I'll do one.
And not just winning because stalwart defense. He's making saves. Like he's making. He is. And not letting softies in, which is more important.
Right.
Making saves.
He's got a 923 right now. Save percentage.
Overall.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Attaboy, Talbot. I got one. Little shout out.
So you have to go with the coach, right? Coach is doing it right.
Oh, okay. So Joe's doing too.
I know what he said at the beginning of the season, and I'm a fan of the North Pole, but hey, dude, when he makes the right decision and it goes right, you got to give the coach the credit.
Attaboy, coach. I'm going to give a little shout out to Andreas England. A lot of people were like, why do we bring this AHL hack on our team? And I was telling people, hey, it's for his physicality. But on top of that, he's playing good defense. He's fighting people. He's sticking up for people. He's scoring beautiful backhand goals, possibly off of other people's sticks, but whatever.
Beautiful.
I'm calling right here. He is the left.
Top shelf.
He's going to be the
dude.
new left-handed Matt Green. Calling right here.
He's got that. He's got that Dolph Lundgren vibe to him. He's just like, I will break you. Like,
yeah. Anybody else got a shout out for anybody?
I totally agree with you on that. By the way,
Rodney, it's real hard to give shout outs because that's how good the start has been.
Right.
When you look at Grunstrom with his 4 goals, the play of Lazat not only on the fourth line but penalty killing and all the energy he's doing. We haven't even begun to even speak about Roy and Gavrikov, how absolutely solid they've been. Mikey Anderson is still Mikey Anderson. He's not done anything to sit there and go, hey, he doesn't deserve everything he's earning. It's the whole team. It's like what Joe said. That's why your answer was good, Joe, on the who's hot, who's not. The LA Kings are just off to a great 11-game start. It's one of the best ones we've had in a long, long time.
and just look at the
then
stat.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you then, Rob, because that seemed very easy for you to say everything you just said, and that was a lot of shout outs. So go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was gonna say, look at the stat sheet too. I mean, when's the last time, if ever, where we have like 4 or 5 guys like close to a point a game? It's crazy. I know Kempe, Fiala, and Kopitar over either
Yeah.
point per game or over.
Kempe's so disgruntled because he's missing these shots, and he's leading the team in points.
Yeah.
Moore's
he's
got
tied
11
with
as
Fiala,
well.
but yeah.
Moore's got a point a game. Byfield's got
Byfield's
10
at
out of
10,
11.
yeah.
And then Kaliev 7 out of 9. So
Deneau and Anderson, all 7.
Yep.
They're all right there.
Yep. It's good times. Good times to be a Kings fan. Hey, Rob, I feel like you have something to say. What do you got?
no, I was going to say I got a tiny segment
Okay,
that
let's do it.
I'll moderate for you. So yes, we are on a hot start, and McClellan has proven he will not change lines when we are winning, even if some lines are a little slow, a little non-productive.
True.
So, but if you could change the lines right now, what are you throwing out there? What do you got, Rod? You start us.
You're going to hate this because I've been thinking the exact same thing. I would swap Kaliev and Laferriere. Few games, see how that goes, but in the preseason, Kaliev looked really good playing with Fiala and Dubois, and that's the line that's struggling a little bit right now. Maybe a little chemistry thing. I don't know.
Right, and could you imagine if that line gets going, how good we would be?
I can, and that's why I want to see it. But
What do you got, Darren?
I don't know if I would change anything. I
I
think
knew you'd say that.
here's why. Laferriere is a very good puck chaser, or like he's the one who goes and gets the puck for that unit. And I don't think that's Kaliev's role. Like I don't think he's the kind who's going to go get the puck. I think he's more of a scorer. And so I don't think I would move them just because I think that would create a little imbalance there of you don't have a puck chaser in that group.
Mike, what do you think? Mikey, would you change anything at all?
No, the only thing that kind of scares me is if someone gets hurt in the middle 6, that Trevor Lewis is the guy to get bumped up, because they did that in the first game where he was like up there, I don't know, skating with, I think, with PLD and Fiala.
yeah, that's going backwards. That's the third line. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that's my only fear is they would move Trevor Lewis up.
So you don't want to
That was because we didn't have money.
I like Trevor Lewis right there at 4th right wing. I got no problem with that at all. But I feel like that he's like a
That was
teacher's
because we
pet
didn't have
to
any
where-
money, though.
Joe, what are you willing to change anything?
Let me just start by saying this. I'm glad you brought this up because something I had a thought about 4 or 5 games ago. The Kings have literally been using the same lines for the most part for probably close to 12 months. like if not at least through halfway through last season. And most people will get mad because the coach always puts the lines into a blender when something does, they go on, they lose 3 games in a row. So for better for worse, as much as some people want to talk crap about McClellan, you have to give him. I will give him credit for that. Like you're sticking with the
I'll give him credit right now.
that works, the stuff that works. So to answer your question, no, don't change anything because the fourth line is scoring goals. Like what do they have? 6, 7 goals now, something like that. Everybody's contributing, even the line that should be contributing more in terms of an even strength play, which would be the Fiala and the notorious PLD and whatever. Yeah, so on that front, I would like to ask the rest of the panel, like, what do you think about the coach keeping the lines consistent for that period of time? For the most part, I know there's been a couple of tweaks, but you've had to know with Moore and
Kobe
whoever.
and Kempe.
Yeah, Kobe and Kempe and Byfield's been on that for most of last year. Blah blah blah. I'll take your thoughts off the air.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Joe. We have many podcasts where I have said out loud, I am a Todd McClellan fan. I support him 100%. I don't think it's ever been a coaching problem. I think it's always been player issues and little. I like the system. I've always liked his system. I just don't think the players have played it well enough now, and I think we're watching full understanding of how the system's supposed to work.
I think you would like to see him maybe rotate in a guy or two on like back-to-backs, save some of the older legs, but we're 7-2-2. Like, I don't know. It's getting a little nitpicky if we're making changes to lines and stuff.
Right. So got another one. Oh, what's up,
I was going to
Michael?
piggyback off that. What's the follow-up question is that what happens when Arvidsson comes back? But that's like months down the road.
Which I was going to get to. That's exactly what I was going to talk about is when you really think how solid the lines are and how consistent we've been with them. And I think everyone would think let's not change anything. Arvidsson's going to come back, and there's guys down in the AHL that are kind of, Turcotte is NHL ready. I really think that Brant Clark.
I think he's a point per game right now, right?
Brant Clark is NHL ready. It just we are built to sustain some injuries and some wackiness a little bit too. So we're in a real good spot, I think.
Yeah, I think we saw that last year too. With like, we always seemingly had one guy injured, but it didn't matter because we had top nine forwards. And I think with Turcotte and Laferriere, we have that depth still, even if it's not like we have it. They could go down to the minors still, and like they could be there and come back up and play a top 9 role, and we'd be fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I think no matter what happens, even if Laferriere plays amazing, Arvidsson comes back, gets cleared medically, they'll send Laferriere down, even if it's just to show that Arvidsson can still play so they could trade him before the deadline. And then we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it turns into like, well, if, we're expected to be a very good team, deep playoff run, then you kind of want to keep Arvidsson, not trade him. Even though you lose him for nothing, but it'd be better to have him in the lineup than not have him, right? Unless Laferriere turns into Arvidsson. But then when we run into cap issues next year, we'll have some cap space, but then we can let Arvidsson walk.
I hear nothing but good problems, actually.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Joe?
No, and I agree with both Rodney and Mike. Obviously, like if Arvidsson comes back, Laferriere is going down. Like I think you have to play a guy who's getting paid $5 million, whatever. What I was going to ask you is because I know big Clark fan. Not that you shouldn't be, but Spence is playing, in my opinion, playing well. Like not he's not wowing, but he's on the third pairing.
He's the sixth defenseman
Do
for
you
sure.
are you okay with the fact that Clark is in the minors and Spence is because he's a right-handed defenseman playing in his spot? He's the lowest guy in the totem pole.
The only reason why I'm okay, is because I feel Spence is an NHL defenseman. That's the only reason why I'm okay. But
He absolutely is. Like he's played this year like I mean, he does not look out of place at all.
nope, not at all.
I think he started a little timid and he's got more confident now.
I will double down and stand by previous statements. I think Clark is better.
No,
No,
he also has a way more potential.
Yeah.
Point being is if you're going to eventually have to move somebody off the right side, whether for salary or whatever, to make a spot for Clark, who do you move at this point? And for me,
Daddy.
Dowdy.
Sorry.
I think honestly, I think that's a ridiculous statement. I mean, I
Yeah.
do not like the shit that Dowdy fucking.
No, I love him. That was just
We're messing with you.
Okay, fair enough. That's bullshit. Because
Keep them all. There's always going to be injuries. Keep them all. We're good.
Yep.
No, but Joe's right. But I think it's either Roy or Spence. But it kind of comes down to
Roy's so
Come on.
valuable too. I don't know. It's weird.
but who else could it be?
just let him play. Like just let him play.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with at this point. There's nothing wrong with
Just keep playing it.
Clark playing in the Martyrs.
Oh yeah. I'm
There's
talking
nothing wrong
about
with it.
next year. I'm talking about next year.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But this year, like we're rolling.
And the other thing is too is like Spence is playing well, but it's like you can't sit him down because I mean look what he did in Ontario. He earned his right to be in the NHL.
Yeah.
He
So-
in like 100 games, he had like 89 points. Like
So you're going to have to
send
move
that guy
somebody at
back
some
down.
point.
So did Martin Firk. But
You're either going to move Spence or Roy.
Yeah,
Is
at
probably
28.
the reality of the situation,
Correct.
right? Like over the next year or two, one of those two is going to have to go.
Here, you ready to have your mind blown?
Go ahead.
Brock Faber is the leading minute skater for the Minnesota Wild and is playing phenomenally. We were just so loaded on that right
I
side.
always knew he was going to be really good.
Yep. So, can we turn one of those guys? Because Faber turned into Fiala for us.
Yep.
So, if we could turn one of those guys that, since we got extra, into another top 3 forward, not let's shoot for the stars instead of top 6 forward. Let's. Who knows?
And so in terms of right-handed defensemen, we definitely maximize Jersey's value on that respect because Spence is, I want to say way better than him, but
He's better
easily
defensively.
equivalent, brings as much, except for maybe the fact that Jersey is willing to get his face punched in for his teammates. You know,
My only thing with Jersey is I think we could have gotten a little more for him. But yeah, I'm a Jersey fan.
I think it's hard because I don't think any team was going to give up a first for Jersey, and so it's like, what more could you have gotten than a second? I don't know. I mean, maybe a third too, but I think a
Talk
second.
about throwing
was
out
most-
another late pick in there, just something a little more. But all right,
I think the Spence conversation is going to be fun because we could turn him even into like a goalie too. Like, could we try and get another young goalie if Portillo doesn't work out? I mean, you know, you look at all the guys like Askarov and Wallstad and stuff like that. Our teams stacked in front of them. They could move for a right-handed defenseman. They could play now for a goalie that could be ready in a year or two.
It's definitely a question for the offseason, but I mean, Roy is definitely valuable, but it's like how much money is he going to cost come summertime, right? Because he's up for a contract.
Right. And we're in a position to now, you want to stay on this really good stack team or you want to go test free agency? Go test free agency. See you later. You'll be replaced.
Clark and Spence could hold the fort. Yeah.
and one more last shout out to Joe's boy Grunstrom. He's just doing his thing, running around, throwing his body around, scoring goals when we need him. That's Tonka Truck right there.
Yeah, I definitely a fan of his play so far this season. I wasn't so much of a fan of his towards the end of last year. I still think, honestly, if that guy got consistent like third, second line minutes or minutes with a person that can feed him the puck, he obviously has a shot.
Yeah.
And he's also a friggin' wrecking ball. So I mean, I guess for better for worse, like if you just park him on the fourth line, and he thinks that's what his worth is, can keep him for longer term. Somebody's probably gonna come pluck him eventually, just because.
All right, Kings fans, that's our show for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check that notification bell. Until next time, stay classy. And go Kings, go!
Go Kings.
Go Kings.
Go Kings.